everybody, welcome to Simple Art at Home with me, Laura Houston. Today we're going to talk about the Anaheim Public Utilities Student Water Poster Contest. You'll have the opportunity to do some art about the importance of water. Before we do the project at the table, I created a short video with the rules and instructions. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at that first. Hey everybody, let's talk about the art contest hosted by the Anaheim Public Utilities. This is a student poster contest where you are going to talk about or draw something about the importance of water. Notice the website there at the bottom. That is where you are going to submit a picture of your work, and the due date is March 11th, 2022. Let's take a look at the rules. First of all, don't forget that due date. It's Friday, March 11th. The theme of this art contest is Water is Life. Your artwork must be horizontal. So take a look at the blue rectangle there on the screen. That's horizontal layout. Sometimes we call it landscape style. The size of your white paper should be 8.5 inches by 11 inches, or you can use 12 inches by 18 inches. You need to have a short water message written on your artwork, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the words "water is life." And again, you're going to take a picture of your artwork and upload it to that website that you see there at the bottom of your screen. So the goal is to create a poster that shows wise water use, or the importance of water, or tell about how we can all do our part to protect our most precious natural resource. You can also submit, instead of a poster, you can submit pictures of a 3D sculpture. So here are some ideas that you might want to think about. I strongly suggest that you start with a circle map and write art ideas. Water is important in the center. And then think about all the different ways that you can show water is important. So just take a moment to look at the slide, and maybe some of the pictures or the sentences might inspire you. Let's take a look at some examples of previous year's posters. So this is an example of larger paper. This is 12 inches by 18 inches. If you choose to submit the larger paper, you have to draw a 1-inch border all the way around. And I'll show you an example of this afterward, but notice that 1-inch border. That's only with the larger paper. This poster says, "Save water, water is life." Notice that the whole drawing in the center is all colored in. Here's another example. This says, "R, save water, never waste." And this student chose to use a pirate theme. This submission says, "Love the world by saving water." It's very colorful, and all of the paper is colored in. They did not leave anything white except for the cloud that should naturally be white. Here's another example that says "Water is life," and it shows a fish, well, the front half of a fish in the ocean, and the sad back half of a fish in a desert environment. This beautiful entry says, "Save water today for a brighter tomorrow." This entry says, "Save water, for it is useful." Remember, you need to submit your work by March 11th. You can go to the website that you see there and upload a picture of your art. Or you can mail it to the Anaheim Public Utilities address that you see there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Let's do some art. So I hope that short video was helpful for you with some of the information. If you have any questions, or if your teacher has any questions, I always keep my email there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So feel free to reach out and email me if you need any help. So at this time, I will meet you at the table. So in the video, you might have noticed that you have two different size options. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is 12 inches by 18 inches. I'll just show you here with my ruler. What that means is one side is 12 inches, and then the other side, you can see on my really old ruler, it's 18 inches. If you choose to use this larger paper, you're going to want to lay your ruler on the edge and trace a border all the way around. That was in the rules. And notice the paper must be horizontal, landscape style. And then here is an example of the 8.5 inches by 11 inches paper. So you can see that it's smaller. If you choose this size, you can just paint or draw or color right out to the edge. And this is what we did last year, if you remember my sample. Okay, I wanted to show you a few ideas before I draw. Maybe these that I show you might be springboards for ideas for you. So if you love swimming, maybe you want to use a swimming theme. Here, these were some folk art fish that we did for a past project, but maybe you want to tie something similar to this in. We also did a project a while back for Cesar Chavez, but it was the importance of water with crops. And this was something we did for another project. Maybe you could mix a drop of water here or mix in water somehow with the earth and with a saying. So those are just some ideas. Today, I'm going to demonstrate something, but remember, if it's your project, you have to do something unique. You can't copy what I do. I always just do this for ideas for you. So I'm going to start drawing and talking through this. I did a light sketch with pencil already, but what we have here, it's like a mountain landscape. And I'm going to go over this with the black pen so it's easier for you to see from your viewpoint. So I just have a horizon line back here of a mountain range. And I'm going to show some water running through it. So I'm just kind of sketching the mountains. Maybe one over here like this. And I'm going to tie in another mountain over here. And then I'm going to draw this stream of like fresh water winding through the mountains, coming from back here. So you see how I'm showing it coming from behind, and it's in front. So it comes in front of these two mountain peaks, but then it's behind this one, and it's going to keep coming around. So I'm going to loop it around here. All the way around. I'm going to continue the water this way. It's just natural flowing water. I'll kind of wrap it through here. And this mountain range will continue. When I draw the drop of water here, I'm going to go ahead and use a thick Sharpie. I'm going to draw this going down here. I really want it to stand out. I'm going to thicken some of the water too. Remember, you can use different weights of line depending on what you want to stand out. Usually objects that are in the foreground or the front of your drawing are going to be more bold. And I think I'm also going to somehow try to blend this because I want this to go from dark And then as it goes back, I'll somehow try to make it a little less dark. Just really thickening this up here. We really want this to stand out. I'm going to kind of go over this even thicker. I think art becomes more interesting if you change the line weight. I'm going to really thicken this. If you could do your artwork with crayons, if you have colored pencils, anything. And did you see too that you can do a 3D sculpture this year? If you wanted to make a sculpture and then take pictures of it. Okay, and I'm going to thicken this line here too. Okay, and I'm going to start kind of changing this a little bit. I'll thicken this a little bit to kind of blend going back. So it's like a softer transition from the heavier weighted line. It's like a little trick you can do. Okay, and then inside this drip, I'm gonna have like maybe the sun shining down. Remember, you have to have a message in words, and have somebody double check your spelling before you write on it with a pen, because I did see somewhere on the instructions that the words must be spelled correctly. Maybe so I'm going to put like a little scene within the drip here, like some trees, and maybe another little mountain range right here. I'll hold this up closer. I'm going to move my hand out of the way so that you can see it a little better. Maybe this here. Let me hold this up for a second. Can you see that? And then I'm also going to draw some water, but I want it to be thicker here. So maybe I'll use a couple of bold lines here. And then start going, like this is where the life is, right? So maybe you can imagine there's fish swimming in this part. It's almost like coming towards like a lake here. And then through here, I'm going to thin it out a little bit. It's more of just the suggestion of the way that the water is coming from. We could take it back around here, just back there. And let's see, I think for my words, I'm going to use my ruler because I do want my my words to be straight. So let's see, maybe here. I'm going to sketch a real light line with pencil. Real light, because I'll erase it later. And let's see. I think I'll do all caps. And by all caps, I mean all capital letters. I'm going to write, take care of the water, and it will take care of you. So I'll start up here, take care. I need to kind of imagine where my words are going to be so I can somewhat center it. So I have take care of the water. See, the line just helps, and I can erase it later. Take care of the water. If we want, you can kind of do a ... since there'll be more down here. And then here, I don't think I'm going to draw guidelines. I'm going to write and it let's see. Also, I think I can fit the word will right here. It will take care of you. There we go. So there's my message. Somewhere you need to have a message. And I'm also going to add a few, just some graphic lines here that I'll eventually paint, but I want to make this a little more interesting here. So they'll be darker at the top and then maybe spread out a little more down here. It just adds interest. If you ever want to, use some cross hatching or some lines. Maybe go like kind of from dark to light. Do a few more up here. And I'm not trying to make them perfect. That's not the idea. It's more of about like shading and adding interest here. I can do one here too. Notice how I have to tilt my paper when I draw. So I'm left-handed, and if you're right-handed, it might be easier for you to tilt the paper this way when you draw. I don't know really why that is. I think it just gives us a better viewpoint. Maybe it's because I'm tilting my head a little bit when I draw. One here. And one over here. And then I'm going to paint. Okay, I think we're good with that. So now I'm moving to my watercolors. I have them right here. As you all know, I use Crayola. There we go. And I've got some water because you'll need maybe a paper towel and some water. And then I have this here as well. Okay. Alrighty. So, what color? I didn't really think much about the colors here. I kind of like the idea of some, like maybe some purple mountains in the background. I think I'll start with those. And, you can use different colors. It doesn't have to be true to life. That's the fun thing about art. Maybe I'll drag the color down here a bit too. I'll probably use a darker purple at the top. Let's see. Might darken it up here. See that? Kind of makes it interesting. And then I'm just going to drag down the lighter color. Of course, I'm going to make that water really blue. Painting's pretty fast. Well, at least for me it is, the way this kind of the style that I paint. Just want to add some color. And notice the samples that I showed you that were previous winners. The whole page was pretty much colored in. I think posters look good when white is not left. So something to kind of keep in mind there. I'm gonna add some back here as well. And I don't want to put, I don't want to color over my important water message with dark color. Keep that in mind too. You want your words to be, easy to read. So now I'm going to go back in and darken the tops here to kind of make this a little more interesting. Kind of pull a little bit of that color down. I'll come back. I'll come back to the mountains if we have more time and kind of work a little bit more on those. But let's work on the water. First, I'm going to start with this real pretty blue here. I can just imagine this lake that's been filled with all this fresh water from the mountain range. That's why rain is so important too for us, especially in California. I'm just going to kind of fade this now as I go back. Because we really want the drop to stand out, the drop of water there. And it's kind of like fading way back there. But we know it's, maybe I'll put a little bit coming from back here. There we go. Okay, so when I focus here, let's see, I'm going to add some greenery into the drop down here. This is kind of like a blue-green color. The brand of watercolors that I'm using, they're naturally very like soft and light. So I'm trying to use like bold pops of color here. And if I don't like it, if it's not like bold enough for me, later I can always go over it with crayons. I can mix, anything that I want into my art. See, now we kind of have a green hill here. Maybe I'll add a little bit of some brown back here. And I'll fill in these trees in a little bit too. There we go. You might be able to hear my dog barking in the background. That's Earl. He's probably looking at a squirrel or something outside the sliding glass door. Really, that's what he does. It's okay. I'm at home. I don't know if you all know that. Okay. Okay. Got it. I'm going to add some green here, kind of mixed in with the brown. And for the sun, I'll do a mixture of orange and yellow right here. I'm taking my time on this drop of water right here because I want this to be kind of like the focal point where it's very bright. And I'll put some blue here, some blue sky in here. I really hope you take pictures of your artwork and email them to me because I'd love to see what you create. I always like to see your art. And you know what I do is I if you want me to or if you don't want me to, I can share your art on a future episode of this show. So that's something that we can do. I think I'm going to add some yellow back here. Like it's like a glow coming up from behind the mountains here. And I think that yellow will look really nice against the purple mountains too. So it's like a glow. Coming up from here. Kind of see that. And I'm going to fade this yellow as we get higher. I'm going to kind of fade it out. Okay. And then I'm thinking about putting some light blue at the top, maybe, or I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just leave. I don't want to take away from this focus right here. So maybe I'll let that color just fade out. And I could put a little bit. Okay. Okay. So here's an example. It says, my message says, take care of the water and it will take care of you. And I hope you enjoy this project, and I ask that you send me pictures of your art. So I'm going to meet you back up at the easel right now. Okay, let's see if you can see this. Okay, so here's my sample. I told you the due date was Friday, March 11th. Secret, the due date is really, I think it's a Monday, March 14th. But personally, I always like to make sure my art gets turned in ahead of time in case there's ever a problem with like uploading images or anything like that. So good luck, and please send me pictures of your art. And as always, do your best to conserve water because we really do need to conserve water, especially in the state of California. So good luck, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. See you next time.